Coming up on today's Cowboys Report on Nico Harrison firing day, no less, we'll discuss Juan Thornhill if there's interest there from the Cowboys, updates on Malik Hooker, Savone Revel, and some details on what tributes the Cowboys will have for Marshon Neland in the coming weeks. Before we get into that, we have a sub-battle this week, against the Las Vegas Raiders, because it is Cowboys-Raiders Monday Night Football. Mitch and Tom back at it again. We have a narrow lead for now. We had a good day Monday. Let's keep it going. Hit that sub button for more free Cowboys YouTube videos. Let's go to potential interest in Juan Turtleneck Thornhill. That's what I'm going to call him because he got the whole turtleneck thing there. Steelers releasing the veteran safety yesterday. That does mean, by the way, he will head to waivers. Once you pass the NFL trade deadline, everyone goes to waivers, not just the young guys who haven't played very much in the past. Juan Thornhill picked up by the Steelers this offseason, spending time with the Chiefs and Browns and Chiefs in that order, I should say, in previous seasons. Hasn't been a very good year for Juan Thornhill, quite frankly. Coverage has not been particularly great. 12 targets in coverage. Its safety numbers, which can be a bit wonky sometimes. 11 receptions. In general, if you get beat at all as a safety, you're going to have some big yards per catch allowed. 149, a touchdown, a pass breakup there. Thornhill hasn't been the guy we've seen in years past. The PFF grades, if you want to value those, reflect that. He's been fine-ish as a tackler, whatever in run defense. Coverage woes have been the crux of the issue on that front. Just a 36.9 overall grade. That's a big difference from some previous seasons from Juan Thornhill, who was at his best with the Chiefs and then it kind of declined a little bit with the Browns, but it's really fallen off this year to the point that the Steelers were not playing him. They were moving Jalen Ramsey around instead of having to give Juan Thornhill real reps. Anytime a safety is available, I think it's worth mentioning because of the issues the Cowboys have had. We'll see about the returns of Donovan Wilson and Alijah Clark and Malik Hooker. We'll spend some time more in depth here on Malik Hooker, by the way, in just a little bit. But Juanyeh Thomas, the young guy, has been not as impactful as I think we had all hoping for. Markquese Bell, they paid him in the offseason, but hasn't done much outside of, solid special team stuff. So would you sign Juan Thornhill? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Would you go out and sign Juan Thornhill? For me, Juan Thornhill was a big draft crush all those years ago. That was the guy I wanted the Cowboys to take over Trysten Hill. Turns out there was almost no wrong answer that wasn't Trysten Hill in that draft class. I am not sure, however, if the Cowboys, whether right or wrong, view safety as that type of need at this moment. I also think it is fair to wonder, given the decline in play, given the age, the state of just Juan Thornhill's career, if he's really an upgrade. Was he just miscast in Pittsburgh? It's possible. Has the signs of decline kind of added up? And sometimes for a safety, once you lose that half step, you don't have enough juice in general. Those things, I think, are very valid questions as it relates to Juan Thornhill moving forward. Does a practice squad spot interest either party involved, since I don't think he gets claimed off of waivers? We'll see. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, and boy has it, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. It is the only app to offer stacks. Pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. You can take more than Drake May passing, rushing yards, and touchdowns on Thursday night against the Jets. Our Prize Picks lineup here is Drake May passing yards, Stephon Diggs touchdown, no more Sauce Gardner, and Zach Ertz, more than a half touchdown on Sunday. You can also follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app, copy their lineups in one click. Friend, celebrity partner, do it all in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Let's go to the current safety on the roster. Malik Hooker has been on injured reserve since suffering his toe injury back in Week 4. It's been kind of quiet, but in recent days/weeks, Brian Schottenheimer hinting that maybe the Cowboys get Wilson should be back, but also Malik Hooker. Stephen Jones on 105 to the Fan yesterday implying that Malik Hooker might be able to make his return as soon as this week, saying, quote, getting Hooker back is going to be a big deal. He's the quarterback back there, and he'll make a big difference. I will say, not all Hooker's fault, whatnot. The Cowboys' defense has struggled all year. It has not been good with Hooker or without Hooker. I think the safety play, the second play in general, has been a pretty big liability, but that's worth mentioning. Hooker's impact hasn't really been felt this year. And as a last line of defense guy, he's been solid in previous years, but he did have the injuries so much in his early career in Indianapolis. He hasn't been the same guy from a talent perspective, impact perspective, but I think he's better than Elijah Clark. We've had to play some games there. It is worth mentioning as well here, folks, that the Cowboys have yet to designate Malik Hooker to return from injured reserve. Could that happen today or Wednesday? Yes. I don't know if the Cowboys are actually going to set it up as they'll do it with a 3-day window, practice window. I think it might be a little bit longer, but we'll see. The Cowboys, I think, they know that they have really no margin for error, and they might push some players back faster than maybe they would if they were 5-3-1, for example. So what week does Malik Hooker return to the Cowboys organization? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Let me know what week you think Malik Hooker returns. Let's move to the other secondary piece the Cowboys are hoping to get back this week against the Raiders. That is Savone Revel. The Cowboys coaching staff in the past has been leaking their excitement about the return of Revel. Ed Werder tweeting this out back in October that the coaching staff is buzzing about how impressive Revel has been. DB/secondaries coach David Overstreet has been very positive in his praise of Revel. Savone's dad speaking with DLLS Sports, which he's just being a happy dad and proud of his kid. I'm not going to read too much into it. Says he'll get a pick if he's targeted at least twice against the Raiders. Gino's thrown a lot of them, so it's actually not the most outlandish claim, but I think that's just a little bit overboard hype. He hasn't played football in a long time. And I will give Stephen Jones some credit/agreement here. Stephen being a little bit more cautious and measured, maybe is a better term, for the Savone Revel return, saying Revel's going to be a work in progress. Since he hasn't played any football until the last couple of weeks, we will see with him. I do wonder what the role for Savone Revel is going to be when he makes his return to the active roster. I do think Stephen Jones is right. There should be patience. And it's also worth mentioning, we have seen the Cowboys slow play almost all of these guys when they have made their return. Kalen Carson got activated, didn't play for a couple weeks. Jonathan Mingo still has not yet been activated. Now, maybe it's different with Savone, but I think the upside is super intriguing. It's a very talented player who fits the Cowboys cornerback archetype to a T, but he also hasn't played football at this point about a year and a half. I would like to see him out there. I don't want to rush him back, and I think corner is often a very you have to be mentally tough. Coming back from the injuries probably helps you in that area, but you're going to get beat about half the time, and you have to have the attitude of I've never been beat once in my entire life. You almost need like willful living in a different environment of that's not what happened. That's not true. I did it all by myself. I never got beat. But you do. You have to live in your own reality of not real life and just have an incredible amount of confidence in yourself. And I don't want to burn that early on. Then again, the Raiders' pass offense is not very good. So I just want to see how much he plays, if anything. So what is your excitement level over Savone Revel? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. We'll wrap up today's video with some updates on how the Cowboys plan to honor Marshon Neland and his untimely passing. A couple updates for you guys on this front from ESPN. Don't know if these are all the Cowboys will end up doing. I think there could be some more here. Helmet decals for the rest of the season should be in play for Marshon, for the Cowboys. So they'll have probably one that says 94. They'll wear those the rest of the year. Special T-shirts pregame for the next 2 games, both on the road at Las Vegas and then at home against Philadelphia. There will be a video tribute from the Cowboys before that Eagles game because remember, they're on the road this week, then back home at Philadelphia. I would anticipate something from the Las Vegas Vegas side to help honor Marshawn Neeland, but nothing official on that front. But those are the planned tributes for Marshawn Neeland the rest of this season.